federal funds for rebuilding took the opportunity, because the money, they could make the decisions for themselves on what to do with it, and many people recognized that this was the perfect time to make those energy efficiency improvements. So they did actually spend the money that way, but it wasn't required.
But it was more expensive, more costly than just replacing whatever had been there before, was it not?
It really depends. It really depends, and it certainly doesn't need to be. When you think about the cost of rebuilding a home or building a new home, you're in the the $50,000 to $100,000 range or more. You can make the air sealing improvements, typically called weatherization, for $1,000 or less. It depends, especially when you're actually in the reconstruction process. You think about the benefits of having insulation in the home, in the attic and in the walls. Well, the very best time to put that insulation in is when you have not yet put the sheetrock up. So there's opportunity there, but there actually are a number of incentives that do help people to pay for the cost of energy efficiency improvements, and there are many more very good incentives coming online soon. So some of those are federal tax credits that apply to the energy efficiency improvements that you might make with insulation or windows and doors or certain appliances. There also are state and city incentives that are coming online soon. One of those is a program that has been around, but because of the federal stimulus bill, a great deal of additional funds were allocated that can expand what's known as the HERO program. This is the home energy rebate option, again known as HERO. And the people who are participating in the program, I guess you could say those are energy heroes that are making these improvements. But the participation in that program involves an energy rater. The first step, the energy rater comes to the house, evaluates what the energy issues are, and makes a set of recommendations. The homeowner then will purchase the improvements, so they'll hire a contractor to come, and maybe they're going to put in insulation, or they're going to replace their air conditioning system, their ductwork. It could be air sealing the house with weatherization. There are a lot of options that would all qualify under the HERO program.
How does the general public know about what programs are available to them?
That's a great question, and there are a couple of different ways. Certainly the Alliance for Affordable Energy has it in our mission to identify the opportunities. So people who are rebuilding or want to make energy efficiency improvements that want to know what those incentives are going to have questions that we can describe, as I'm describing now, what some of those incentive programs are, and make sure that they take the step and go ahead and make the improvements while those incentives are available.
Well, now, of the various organizations involved in the greening of New Orleans,
yes,
and every organization of which I have any knowledge has a financing problem. Where does the money come from for the various organizations who are dedicated to this greening project?
That's a great question, and of course, in these economic times, the issues that are affecting the economy as a whole and individual families are also having an impact on nonprofit organization work. Fortunately, our organization at the Alliance and the others in the green industry do manage to find a way. It's a combination of grant resources, of local public support that comes from membership and individual donors. That's very important for a lot of reasons, but certainly it helps to support the work of the organization, and even some services that nonprofit organizations can offer, and those can be classes, those can be consulting, or even direct improvements.
Which they do for a fee.
Which they do for a fee. And that gets back then to your question about the businesses that we are engaging, and the very great importance for businesses to be very involved in this. In the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina and in the start of my work with the Alliance for Affordable Energy, I saw a great opportunity for New Orleans to make homes more efficient, for the families that live in those homes to save money on their energy bills, and for the people who do the work in their homes to get good employment and to make money that can support their own families. So there's a lot of opportunity there. A nonprofit organization like ours has an important role to connect those pieces, to help catalyze a marketplace that gets the work done. At the end of the day, I envision New Orleans having energy efficiency opportunity for everyone. Should be available to everyone, whether it's making improvements to your home or finding work opportunity. There are opportunities in the energy efficiency field. I knew that it would not be possible for nonprofit organizations alone to enact and fulfill this whole vision. It really would come from the marketplace, from the businesses that see it in their interest. When you think then and ask, well, where do they get their money to do the work that they do? Because they're doing the real good work, making that home energy efficient. Well, of course, they get it from their clients. They get it from the sales of services that they offer.
Now, one thing we have not mentioned, and at that big greening conference, there were representatives from the city of New Orleans.
Right.
And the future of this city, or of any city, really depends upon the city's government.
That's right.
What is their involvement in all of this? What has it been, and what do you expect it to be?
There have been some important strides in the last few years, and one must look forward with some real optimism. The new leadership coming in, both with the council as well as returning council members, and a new mayor, comes at a time when resources for energy efficiency are increasingly available, and there's more to build on because of the work of the previous administrations. The City Council, for instance, passed a program called Energy Smart. This is an incentive program only for people who are in Orleans Parish to make energy efficiency improvements to their home and to receive an incentive. So they can actually add the incentives from the Energy Smart program with the incentives from the HERO program, with the federal tax credits, and make this by far the best time ever to make home improvements to make energy efficiency. Now, actually, that one program, as I said, it was enacted by the previous council. It was funded by the previous council. There's $11 million over the next 3 years. And it is in the process now of seeking and bringing on board a what they call third-party administrator. So basically an organization that will run that program. And that should be coming online later this year.
And that the 3-year funding, is that fixed, or is that subject to being rescinded or changed? Or?
Gosh, I sure hope not on that one.
But it's budgeted for? Is
that's
that
correct. It is. And of course, we would like this type of program to be available long term. And the City Council has the authority, and I think the opportunity and maybe even the responsibility of ensuring that energy efficiency be an ongoing part of how we meet our energy needs. The City Council is the utilities regulator, which is very unusual. Usually that is only handled at the state level. But New Orleans is very, very special in this regard. The City Council has the ability to set rates, to work with the utility and with the needs of the public to provide the best service in energy, and they have the ability to use vision and leadership to increase the amount of energy efficiency that lowers energy bills and creates job opportunities.
Would that include changes to the building codes, or have they done that, or do you want them to do that?
Fortunately, the state took that step in the aftermath of Hurricane Katrina. It was 2005, 2006. They enacted a more modern building code, the 2006 building code, and are now looking to take it up to the next, most recent, the 2009 code. And that has been an important step. But that responsibility and authority lies at the state level. When
you said a more modern code, but was it also a more energy efficient code?
Absolutely. And that's been a trend that we've seen going only in one direction over the time, is that as the building codes are updated and modernized, they are always making more energy efficiency requirement. The current discussion has considered whether or not to include the energy provisions, and I think it doesn't take much explaining to say that I am very strongly in favor of having energy efficiency measures in